The draft is underway. What is Brawls Deep gonna ban here?
I don't know. Welcome to Game 2, ladies and gentlemen. Brawls Deep versus Bringers of the Storm. Brawls Deep won in a convincing fashion in Game 1 between the Spider Queen. This is Bringers of the Storm's map pick, Cursed Hollow. And we'll have to see what they opt into. I definitely think they're not going to ban Zag. They're going to want to pick up that Zag if Bringers of the Storm makes the mistake of leaving it available, which means Bringers of the Storm is going to ban Zag. So knowing your opponent's going to ban Zag, what do you pick up as Brawl? What do you ban out as Brawls Deep?
Man, there's so many good strategies here. I imagine that they'll pick up the Falstad Arterial. Most likely the Falstad.
They ban out Illidan. That's an interesting decision. Illidan can be quite good on Cursed Hall. The kiting distances are quite long, and that's where an area where he excels at. We actually often see Illidan banned first on many maps in the Korean Pro scene. Every map, in fact, except Tomb of the Spider Queen. But I feel like that Illidan, maybe with the coordination that Brawls Deep has demonstrated, wouldn't have been that big a threat. They do have to pick up that Li Ming first. Now they have the poke on the tributes, which is going to give them a lot of value.
All the mages get so much value here just because there's so many chokes that you can really stack on the damage on the enemy team if you can catch them in one. What is Bringer's going to take here? I imagine, I don't know if they want to take the Falstad after that last game.
I mean,
it's just such a good, it's just such a better map
they
for Falstad.
prioritize Falstad on his worst map. I think that they can afford to prioritize Falstad on one of his best maps.
Yeah.
You get that soak, you get that global pressure. There's so many things you can do with Falstad. Gust on bosses is also extremely valuable. It's one of the most valuable boss-centric heroics on Cursed Hollow, and bosses, as you mentioned during the wait, are the actual win condition of this map. So taking good boss steal heroics or even basic abilities is critical for the late game success.
Bringers of the Storm really taking their time pool here for this first pick.
Which is surprising, because you knew that they were probably going to, once you saw the Li Ming, you knew what your options were. You, generally speaking, don't want to pick the same thing the enemy team picked for their first pick. You want to go pick a different role so that you don't get isolated as much, and you put some pressure on the enemy team in terms of threatening bans. They do opt for Tyrael and Ariel, going for the double Angel, and Tyrael is exceptional on this map because of Holy Ground on boss steals. But Bringers of the Storm is going to need to make sure they draft a hero who can be enabled by Sanctification. And Brawls Deep, bearing that in mind, has the option now of picking up Falstad for the Gust disengage, and it gets locked in immediately. Kind of expected that to happen.
I imagine they'll probably take a healer or a tank here as well. Generally, you like to, or at least I like to leave at least one flex pick in the second phase, and that's exactly what they do. They do take their Rhaegar.
I like that pickup because of the way Ancestral has such good synergy with Sanctification. You kind of have, it's kind of like having an Uther and a Rhaegar on the same team. You can Sanctification to shield someone, save their life, and then Ancestral's guaranteed to go off. By denying that from Bringers of the Storm, it makes everything a little bit easier in terms of potentially executing those kills for Brawls Deep. Bringers of the Storm at this point needs to focus on banning a tank, I think. There are some good options for them in that role. They could ban the ETC, they could ban the Muradin if they wanted to go down that route. They could even opt to take Muradin. Muradin has a lot of strong bruising potential, so they could ban ETC, take Muradin, and then pick up another range damage and have a lot of flexibility for the last pick. They do have to ban the ETC, and I like that decision.
What is Brawl's Deep ban here, do you think? If all their marbles are still open for Bringers of the Storm, they could go a lot of different ways with this.
I think you want to ban the ranged. Constrict that option even more. Falstad and Li Ming are already taken, so the top tier range damage that are left are pretty limited. Jaina is a good counter initiator, but she doesn't have a lot in terms of following up fights. They could ban something like Kerrigan. They could focus on banning heroes that are enabled by Sanctification. Kerrigan's certainly a very good example of that. And they end up banning Abathur. I guess maybe they're trying to deny the Abathur Greymane, I think. So Greymane
or Tracer.
Greymane is another one of those heroes that is enabled by Sanctification. So rather than banning the direct synergy, they're banning the additional synergy that is potentially possible.
So now we'll really see what Bringers of the Storm strategy is here with these next pick or two.
And this is sort of the advantage. This is actually the advantage of being second pick. A lot of people think there's no advantage of being second pick. There actually is. You can hide a lot of your strategy until after the second ban phase, and if you don't give it away with your bans and picks, which is quite possible if you think carefully about what order you pick the heroes in. You can end up doing quite a bit of work. Jaina is locked in for Bringers of the Storm. It's kind of what I expected. By banning that Abathur, that they deny the double Jaina, which would have been quite strong indeed. So that Abathur ban is looking even better, almost prescient from Brawls Deep.
You do go the Lunara for that extra poke damage.
So now they have a lot of poke. They have a extended slow from Jaina, which is going to give Lunara quite a bit of advantage if she can go, quite a bit of DPS if she can go unfair advantage at 13. Normally versus Li Ming, she kind of is forced into greater spell shield. And I wonder if we're going to see the Erase Li Ming build out of Lunara with Leaping Strike over Thornwood Vines.
Now I wonder if Brawls Deep here is going to go as second support, or if they're just going to try to dive and kill the enemy team.
I mean, they pick up a Muradin. I feel like Muradin's pretty self-sufficient, so that Ancestral's going to have to go on someone. I think it's better to put it on a Bruiser than it is to put it on their relatively fragile range DPS who have their own safety mechanisms. Falstad has Barrel Roll and Gust. Li Ming is going to have that teleport. So I hope they pick up another Bruiser, ideally of some kind. Thrall is quite strong on this map.
Kerrigan is also, but they do have the Tyrael Sank.
Yeah, this Sank negating the value of Maelstrom is always a real concern. I do think that Thrall or Sonya even would be very good pickups, although Sonya does struggle a lot versus Jaina. They end up going for the Zeratul.
They're diving. They're going to try to use that Void Prism and then just surround the enemy and blow up the squishies.
It's an interesting attempt. I mean, if that Sank gets off in time, that's not going to work, and they don't really have that many things to deny. Chen picked up for Bringers of the Storm. That's two boss steal heroics, or heroics / basic abilities for Bringers of the Storm. Holy Ground at 16 for Tyrael, Keg on Chen. I think that Bringers of the Storm wins the boss fights if they don't fall too far behind, but Brawls Deep's early game last game was so devastating that I can't realistically think that's going to happen.
Man, I really like Bringers of the Storm strat. They have the Chen for the solo lane, who's pretty good against their team. Their team does Brawls Deep team does not have a lot of stuns, which really wreck Chen. I mean, Falstad can get a stun, right? Li Ming doesn't have a stun. Rhaegar doesn't have a stun. Zeratul doesn't. Muradin does, but if he's using his stun on Chen, I mean, are you really winning?
Yeah, essentially it's Gust, Wave of Force, and Stormbolt are the only 3 interrupts for Drink. That's not a lot of interrupts for Drink at all.
And no giant killers either, unless Falstad does go that build. But generally, people go mage stat at least until the PTR changes come live next week.
I mean, I think actually, at a minimum, it'd be worth doing the hybrid build where you do go Seasoned Marksman at level 1. Just because I don't think Falstad's going to get that many stacks. Maybe. It's so close. We've only seen it a couple times in EU. It has had great success over there. But you have Li Ming, right? Do you really need burst ability damage times 2? Zeratul, a significant amount of his damage also comes from his abilities. I feel like they need a strong backline AA more than they need another mage. And Giant Killer would be good versus Chen Tyrael frontline.
I really like Bringers of the Storm draft, and I think they actually have a good shot at potentially taking this W from Brawls Deep. But Brawls Deep just played so expertly on the last map that you can't call it for sure.
I mean, it's worth noting that was their map choice, and I think people underestimate overall map strategy. Some teams are significantly better on some maps than others. So maybe this is, Bringers of the Storm's map pick. Maybe this is their best map. Maybe they understand this map in the same way that Brawls Deep understands Tomb, and we'll actually see it go the other way. Maybe Bringers of the Storm will be stomping Brawls Deep. I don't expect that to happen, but you never know.
We'll have to see. I wonder if we're going to have any crazy pre-game rituals. I don't think we had any last game.
We did not.
Wasn't
We did not. No crazy pre-game rituals.
Well, I'm sure that if Bringers of the Storm did do one, they would for sure win this game. Making a huge mistake by not doing a B-step.
I mean, they already messed up the Mountain Portrait synergy, so they're pretty much screwed. 4 Bringers of the Storm on the left side. The blue side, we have Azrael on Tyrael, Finio on Ariel, Boom on Lunara, Felwyn on Jaina, and Benzo on Chen.
And again, for Brawls Deep, we have Special T on Li Ming. We have Crunk Juice on Muradin. We have FZ Ignition on Falstad. We have Nailter on Rhaegar. And we have the Next Slash on Zeratul.
Again, that Searing Light picked up at level 1 for Ariel. I played a lot with that talent. I don't like it very much on any map except Infernal Shrines and sometimes Tomb. Especially as a solo support, I really do think the fast sweep is almost necessary, just because of the way it self-roots you. But aggressive play so far here from Benzo, getting that kick in, trying to isolate. Jaina getting a Blizzard does not get too much value. Benzo gets absolutely destroyed. And it is worth noting that Benzo did go Regen Master at level 1 over Grounding Brew. We almost exclusively see Grounding Brew in the pro meta on Chen versus Li Ming in particular, because drinking as a self-root makes you an easy target for skill shots. Li Ming has a hard time damaging you through your shield with Grounding Brew, but that is not the case if you go Regen Master. She can absolutely kill you.
I wonder what build specialty is going to go here. I imagine the Q build, but we'll have to see.
Chen goes down easily to FZ Ignition. Stopped drinking a little bit too early, did not get to safety. Nice pickup there, actually, by Crunk Juice. He did stun him and dismount him on the rotation, which was critical. Fellowin hiding in a bush here, sees Next Slash hunting around, I think, decides to start to back up, gets the stun, Crunk Juice with the rotation, but Azrael with the peel, not quite low enough, too close to her towers. Very nice awareness there from Fellowin.
Also, one thing that Brawls Deep did really good on that first fight there is they rotated their damage pretty well among all their heroes, right? So someone got damaged a little, they backed. That way, the Rhaegar's heal got full value. Everyone got some healing as opposed to one person who was just down a lot.
And that's something that's going to emphasize. If you're going into a team fight and you're the one getting focused, if you start backing up, the enemy team has the decision of either going in after you or switching to a different target. If they go in after you, then you can surround them and trade better on the damage. And Brawls Deep is doing that very well. If they're getting focused, they're backing up. They have really good awareness.
Man, that Jaina Lunara though combo as the game goes on, especially level 13 with Nature's Advantage. Is it Nature's Advantage?
Unfair Advantage.
Unfair Advantage. Yeah. The bonus, 50% damage from poison when the target is slipped, and you have Jaina who slows everyone. It's a massive amount of damage.
And Benzo losing the lane somehow to Falstad. Chen should not lose lane to anyone except maybe Zag right now. But Benzo opted into Regen Master over that Grounding Brew, which means he doesn't have that early game advantage in terms of sustaining through ability damage. And he's just getting absolutely melted.
Oops. I think that Brawls Deep just won because they have the Doge of Friendship.
Is that how that works?
Yeah. First one to post it wins.
Some other interesting notes about this comp. Lunara Ariel is a very strong combination we've seen a lot. Lunara, because of her constant damage on multiple things, just tick, 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 ends up giving a lot of hope. But every time, if Jaina calls out when she's going to do her combo, and Ariel is fast enough to get that switch, she gets the burst from that full combo of Jaina and switches back to Lunara. It's going to be it's basically going to be infinite healing almost for Bringers of the Storm if the crown switching happens very cleanly. And that is something Lunara offers in regards to that synergy. I actually think Lunara Ariel is one of the strongest pairings you can have with Ariel.
And Lunara Jaina is also a super strong pairing too. So it's a lot of burst and damage over time ability that the blue team has here. Let's see if they can really utilize it though. Brawls Deep is just so good at, like I said, cycling that damage and really focusing fire. Poor Crunk Juice, though. Need the tank. So, as we can see here, though, while the game is paused, Brawls Deep is doing what a lot of teams do, getting ready for the first tribute, right? They're getting that siege, and they're hoping that the tribute's going to spawn top, and that siege camp will be able to get some value top. Generally, the other team does that too, hoping the exact same, except on the opposite side of the map.
I mean, you can see Crunk Juice doing tank things. He's grabbing the vision. He doesn't necessarily want to help Rhaegar with the camp. He's, I think, going to rotate it right now. But he's guarding it, making sure there's no potential invade from the enemy team. They don't want that siege camp to be stolen. and put a lot of pressure on them. We can see Neck Slash being a mobile ward, on Zeratul as well. Because mid is currently cleared, he's just trying to keep Vision on the map, and this is what's going to put Brawls Deep ahead overall. Vision is absolutely critical on this map, and because they're using their tank and their stealth hero to be aware of where Bringers of the Storm are at all times, they're going to be able to get picks, they're going to be able to invade when camps are getting taken, and they're going to be able to snowball the early game fights because of better positioning and better awareness.
Yeah, let's see if they can really execute that on these team fights. Let's see how these team fights turn out. I think it's going to be a pretty good fight. Like I said, Brawls Deep will really have to be cautious, especially that level 13 with unfair advantage on Lunara.
I guess Crunchus is playing from his phone's internet because the internet at his house went out.
Yeah, it feels bad.
So having some problems in that regard.
Is there a maximum pause time?
So in tournaments, the rule is 10 minutes, and then you have to play with a bot. That's not an official chair league rule, but I've been using it because it seems reasonable. We are currently at 4 minutes of pause, I believe.
I'm going to go get a drink real quick, gentlemen. So I'll be back in about 2 minutes.
It's less than 4 minutes. If you have a sub. It's one of the nice things about. It's one of the nice things. Okay. About Super Deva giving casters in general discretionary powers. About how to arbitrate things.
That internet, though.
Welcome back, hero.
And it looks like we are back. Again, Nelter being able to secure that siege camp on his own. This is one of the advantages of having Rhaegar as a support. He can solo camps very efficiently. Asriel very overextended, out of mana. Neck Slash going in so deep, trying to get that kill. Not going to get it though. Righteousness with the heal from Ariel being just enough.
And we have our first tribute. Let's see how both teams respond. Benzo here, look, it already tapped top lane and half health still. So I wonder if he's going to rotate down or not, or just opt to soak.
I think he's going to Oppa Soak. I think at this point, they really need to do something that's going to behind. No, he does start to rotate, but he's going to be super late. I don't know if I agree with that decision. I feel like with Lunara, with Tyrael, they had enough poke they could have afforded to sacrifice this first tribute. Instead, they lose it instantaneously. Chen's still rotating. He's still coming, guys. And he mounts up and turns around. Okay, we're good. Harajic the Forging picked up at level 4 for Tyrael. That is going to give him a lot of zoning potential. A huge Blizzard on FC Ignition. Azrael recommitting to the fight. Barrel Roll is down, and that is going to be the kill on Ballstep, but also on Tyrael. Tyrael with even in death. Not going to get a kill on Nailter, and Zeratul with the blink out. Going to get away. Next slash evading. Benzo probably could have done something to slow him down there, which would have allowed Lunar to catch up, but he wasn't quite situationally aware of what was going on. And that's the problem we've seen over and over and over again so far with Bringers of the Storm. They're just not communicating. They don't know what's going on the map. Specialty, meanwhile, in the top lane, getting bottom tower and all the ammo on the remaining tower is also gone. Gets the gate as well as a parting gift and then leaves.
Yeah, also got some soak up there while without missing any, which Benzo didn't rotate quick enough and did lose some soak.
Yeah, it's just the rotations are so clean. We do see Deadly Strike picked up at level 4, which is not a typical talent at all. We almost always see Amplify Healing, which would have been amazing with Ariel and that Regen Master, those two sitting there together, and Brewmaster's Balance picked up as well. I don't understand this Chen build. I don't understand the decision-making going on here at all for Benzo.
Jaina with Frost Armor as well, worth noting.
I guess that's a pretty standard talent versus Zeratul, I feel.
Yeah.
Something we've seen quite a bit of, but... And she went the Winter's Reach at level 1, so she has that increased poke range. Huge fight here. Azrael getting isolated again and goes down.
The next slash, though, is really low on Zeratul. That Lunara damage or poison is doing a lot of work. But Falstat's back in the fight, full health, full mana, and that's going to be Brawl's Deep Tribute. They also had those Bruisers pushing mid too, which are now getting to the tower, but Benzo's there to start trying to clear him out.
The Chen build so far, for those who can't see because of the overlay, is Regen Master, Deadly Strike, Brewmaster's Balance. It's not a strong build. I'm just going to put it out there. Not a strong build.
It does look like Li Ming is going to go the teleport build, but she knows that they need to dive in there and kill people.
Brawls Deep is so aggressive on this map, so confident. They're just literally invading Bringers of the Storm Bruisers. They're like, oh, hey, look, a Bruiser camp. We should grab that. Ours is already taken. And they just grab it for free. Rhaegar and Muradin take that down so efficiently. And then they just leave. Actually, and Belwyn doing a lot of work here in terms
Tyrael,
of...
you're in trouble.
Oh my god.
He did Q forward. He's going to die. He's dead.
He might be able to trade for FC Ignition, but FC Ignition with the juke on the barrel roll. Not even close. It is worth noting, there's a funny facet of this Bruiser camp that we should talk about. When it's stolen, it will come to here, and if it catches the minion wave...
Look at Ariel top.
Oh my god, she's fine. She's fine. She's tapped. I don't know what you're talking about.
Next slash almost got it.
At some point we're going to talk about the Bruiser camp, guys, but this fight, there's fights going on everywhere. This tribute is going to get channeled for a little bit. The Li Ming with the poke is going to be able to keep them off of it. 10 is now established, 4 balls deep, and Bringers of the Storm just needs to leave. They need to leave, they need to leave, they need to leave. They're not going to get any value here. All they're going to do is feed and lose the tribute, lose the curse anyway, and be even more hard-pressed to defend.
Jaina here in trouble. Oh, they're diving Jaina. And with that Zeratul, with that Void Prism, I think it's going to be easy win, but he misses the W.
But it doesn't matter. There's no buildings alive.
Yeah.
Jaina is going to go down. She tries to throw Blizzard out in her dying breath to try and get something happen, but just that doesn't matter. And they're just bypassing. They're like, oh, look, a keep wall. Yeah. This is one of the things you can do when you're this far ahead. And they're getting for the sidewall. They're actually going straight for the keep.
Ario's dead! This aggressive play is insane by Brawls Deep. The confidence, the plays, they're so great.
And not only will they get this keep here, but by killing the minion waves in the base, they will never even get to the fort, and that means that that fort will get a huge minion wave stacked up on top of it, and that's going to be a very difficult thing for Bringers of the Storm to deal with once this happens. But it is worth noting that until that fort goes down, no catapults will be spawning, so the next minion wave that's going to spawn here momentarily will not have a catapult.
They will go and finish Janopsa, the one right after that. Oh, they did get it in time.
They got it in time. Oh, just in time. The catapult does spawn. That is timing, ladies and gentlemen. That is timing. And they're going to go for boss. This is now an open lane. I mean, there's the keep wall here, but there's not a lot else going on. If they get this boss, they can end the game again.
Brawls Deep has to be careful here. They are the same talent tip, but they're just playing so much better.
Yeah, VP for the isolation. Tyrael goes down instantaneously. Could not get inside of the VP. Sanctification not even used. And I'm surprised they're doing anything but getting boss right now, honestly, because I think they could just go boss and end the game.
Maybe they're gonna go bot boss.
I don't necessarily agree with that decision if that's what they said. They're doing middle fort. They're just like, oh guys, hey look, there's a middle fort up. Let's just not let that happen. I don't...
We are only 8 minutes in, and they're on the same talent tier, so they probably don't think they can end with boss.
So they're saving the... You think they're saving the boss for later? Just to end off of that? It's like a now and later situation?
Maybe. I mean, I guess it makes sense. They're playing so confidently, they can literally do pretty much whatever they want right now.
Indeed, they can. Okay. If Brawls Deep gives me just 1 second to talk about this, if you steal this Bruiser Camp and it catches the minion wave, the enemy team cannot get the minion wave experience, and you'll lose some shots and some damage on the towers. But if you let the camp push and ignore it, you can actually deny soak in the mid lane from the enemy team. So sometimes stealing this camp can actually be an advantage for the other team. But you have to not clear it, and they cleared it instantly, so it didn't quite work out for them. And it has to work with the minion wave timing, which it almost did, and it was close. But I don't think either team thought about that. But it is one of those little strategy things that can happen. That top lane is so destroyed.
I never considered that. That's a good point.
I have considered that on every single map because it's the way the Bruiser Camp works on all lines.
Lunara, trouble here.
Goes down pretty much instantaneously.
No Aegis.
No, Aegis was available. Ariel was in range, and she just didn't click it. She's like, "Oh, you're gonna die. That's cool." Barrel used forward disengage.
There's a barrel to
here.
run away.
That's not a wasted heroic because you didn't die, but free tribute again for Brawls Deep. They're up a talent tier. I don't see how anything goes right for them at this point. Brigades of the Storm just can't. They can't do anything. They can't do anything versus this team. They're getting out rotated. They're getting out team fought. They're getting out macro. They're getting out mechanics. They're even in some degree getting out picked in terms of talent choices. There's nothing that's going 100% right for them.
Gleaming does go Cannoneer as well.
Cannoneer's something we've seen picked up, and Shen gets absolutely erased.
Jaina in trouble here, does live, but Zeratul said no! But he can't finish her.
150 health, he does get cleansed. Next slash almost goes down, but he does get cleansed. We haven't seen Cannoneer a little bit more, and I think if you're not confident that you're not going to die, you can't go Glass Cannon, right? Glass Cannon is obviously a better talent than Cannoneer, but if you're not confident you aren't going to die, Cannoneer at least offers some additional damage, particularly with a cooldown reset build like this with the Triumvirate, whereas Illusionist offers additional safety, but no additional damage if you already feel safe, but not so safe using Glass Cannon. I think that's sort of the compromise. It's a compromise talent between damage and safety.
And since Brawls Deep has one death on their side, they're probably feeling pretty safe.
Exactly.
The boss steals. Oh, Falstead is not in time.
A little bit late, and Barrel was available, so Chen could have easily denied that. Just gone unstoppable and knocked everyone.
Falstead's in trouble here.
Falstead barreled. Gust is down. He's actually going to go down. That is the second kill for Bringers of the Storm. But Brawls Deep, meanwhile, the rest of their team is top lane, pushing with the boss. The tower is gone, the well is gone, the inner tower is gone, and that is a full health boss on core at the 11-minute mark, which is not that strong. It won't even break through the shields unless they push with it.
Yeah, Bringers of the Storm, I think, made a big mistake here. They knew that all of Brawls Deep were top, and they knew that they weren't going to try to end down 4v5. And they didn't even cap the tribute, which they kind of could have easily gotten and then backed in time.
Yeah, I don't like this decision from them. It's a little bit too scared, almost. And I understand why they're playing scared, but you can't play scared in this situation. You're down at full talent here. You're down 3 levels. You gotta take risks to win the game at this point. You're too far behind to play passively and ever come back.
Yeah, and you're going to make mistakes, and Brawls Deep is going to capitalize on them. So if you're playing scared, trying to play passive, you're going to make still small mistakes, and Brawls Deep, you can bet, is going to take advantage of those.
And more than that, if they'd gotten that tribute, they would have had a chance to soak 16 and have an even talent tier fight. Now, with that second tribute being picked up by Brawls Deep, the third tribute's going to spawn before Bringers of the Storm gets 16, excuse me, which means that they gave up an opportunity to have an even tier talent fight at tribute without a second curse coming down on them. Now they're going to get second curse, or they're going to have to fight down a talent tier. Like, those are their options, and those are not good options. That's not the position you want to be in.
And this is Curse Tribute here. I wonder how Bringers of the Storm is going to respond. Zeratul does die, though. But at what cost?
Hero slain.
Tyrio dies as well, so they at least trade, so that's good for by Brawls Deep.
FC Ignition is channeling this tribute. We do have Lunara up here. She does have Thornwood Vine. She's going to be able to get the interrupt. I'm not sure if Lunara with this build can 1v1 a Falstad. And Crunchu's coming in with the flank from behind, and that's going to be a 3v1 on Boom. Or, yeah, he went Boom. That is true. He's just gone. Nice Ring of Frost actually hitting 2 people. Gets the Falstad with the Blizzard follow-up. Extremely good kill by the Jaina there, but I don't think it's going to matter. Aegis finally comes down, making a save. Felwin's going to die. Specialty gets the
Specialty! Great Ancestral there. And this Chen is actually in trouble with his health. He's actually going to barrel and just run away, it looks like. But he doesn't run away, turns around, and gets deleted by Li Ming.
Tributes. That was actually the best thing Bringers of the Storm almost could have hoped for. They finally got 2 additional kills, trading not too badly, but they lost the tribute, which means they have yet another curse. Siege Giants are pushing the top lane, which is managing the
in trouble here, gonna die.
Queued in. I don't understand this aggressive queuing in all the time when you're dying constantly. Also worth noting, he did take Burning Rage at their team, which is a talent that we literally never see in high level play. It's always imposing will. And if you're going to draft Tyrael in a coordinated environment, I think imposing will is actually mandatory. It's a talent that you always take. You only don't take it if you don't really understand the Tyrael. And we have seen him being overly aggressive and dying quite a bit. So
no value void for some of those.
I mean, Nextlash lived. That's some value. He was going to die, and then he didn't.
Are we going to see a Gust here? Nope. Chen taking a lot of damage, getting absolutely chunked by that cube. Has to get Aegis, but he's probably going to die, and he does instantly out of that.
It gives Li Ming the resets. Fenio did have a full bar of health, though, so she managed to get a little bit of work on that. Worth noting, she did take the quest, so she's looking for full health heals as much as possible. But I don't think that Brawls Deep is going to give her that advantage. She's going to keep everyone so low, just constant to spam it. Zeratul is extremely low, does go down, but gets the kill on Jane at the last second. The middle keep is going to go down that last. The curse is going to end. They're sticking. They're staying.
Falstad's going to kill it.
They're going to get it, but he's getting hit by the keep, which is slowing down his attack speed. He does get one more Q off.
Falstad, die for it.
Oh my
die for
God. The Gust comes off cooldown. He gusts them away and gets the keep. That is 2 keeps and the bottom keep wall all done. And half a level away from level 20. So all they have to do is get healthy, wait till everyone on their team is alive, soak level 20, and force 1 additional fight. Their boss is up in 20 seconds, and this time, post 15 minutes, with that additional scaling, that boss will be able to end.
That was the better team fight from Bringers of the Storm. It is worth noting that their heroes scale very well. Lunara's poison scales at, I believe, 4%, which is better than anyone else in the game. And with the synergy with Jaina, it really makes it a catastrophic kind of combo. It's really good.
Scales, yeah. Lunara scales at 4.5 minutes. Only beaten by Tracer's Pulse Bomb, which scales at 5.5%.
Oh, man.
Absolutely insane. Combination attack picked up at level 16 for Chen here, which is a talent we literally never see. Literally never. We just don't see it. It's not as good as Pressure Point in terms of securing kills, so even if you're playing a Bruiser style of Chen, you really do want to go for that Pressure Point for the isolation. I don't understand this Chen build at all, and I can only assume he's just not very comfortable playing Chen.
Yeah, it doesn't make too much sense.
Brawls Deep has 20, and they're just going to force the fight. They're like, oh, look, we have Catapults pushing in the lanes, we have our Bruiser Camp pushing in the mid lane as well. We're just going to force the fight. Oh, Fenio gusted away, so Jaina gets absolutely erased. No possibility of Aegis with the save because she was out of range after that gust. Chen doing the barrel, trying to use it just to survive. Osriel with the zoning Holy Ground, trying to make sure his team lives. Sanctification just for himself, which is not how you want to be using that ability. And
oh, he does get Aegis though, gonna keep him alive for now, but he gets defeated anyway.
Yeah, good focus fire from Brawls Deep. Zeratul and Li Ming both always focusing the same target, which always helps Li Ming get those resets. And Li Ming, you give her those resets, she's the best. Went Archon for some bizarre reason because this game is over. That's why she went Archon. VP on Fenio, and that will be an ace, a 5-man wipe for Brawls Deep. 2-0 from Brawls Deep, starting out the season strong.
Yeah, look at that Li Ming damage. She really took advantage. Man, she hit so many Qs. If she would have went Seeker at 7, it probably would have been insane.